Hi guys, it's Kelly here and I'm back with another video for Honeybee Stamps. Today I'm going to be using the beach scene die, the Birds of Paradise stamps and dies, the Hello Summer stamps and dies, and then what is this, Tropical Tweets. That's where I got my sentiment from. So before you freak out, I actually filmed this video a while ago, so I still only have my engagement ring on. We were not yet married because I filmed this before knowing it would be a longer video and I would have an opportunity to tell the wedding story. So since then, this is now part 2 of the wedding story. If you want to see part 1, you need to go one video back to the fall coffee card. But anyway, so this beach scene is generously sized. My paper is cut to an A2 size, which is 5.5 by 4.25. I know that my die cutting is going to cut through all of this tape. It's fine. I just need it to hold it in place long enough to get the pieces parts cut out, and then I'll just peel the tape off. So what I like to do, especially with things like this, once I'm taking them out of the die, I like to put them back together so that way I know what part I'm grabbing and make sure I have all the pieces parts and they look correct. And then I'm going to separate them out into what colors I'm going to be adding. So I wanted it to be kind of like a little sunset scene. So I'm using my regular Distress inks. I'm going to be using the Fossilized Amber and the Picked Raspberry to create a little bit of a sunset in the background. Since there was going to be so much blue with the water, I wanted there to be something different in the sky. Here you can see I got my finger right in my ink pad and then I stuck it right on my paper. So I am going to go over that pretty generously to blend that out as much as possible. I couldn't completely get rid of it, but I don't really think it's too terribly noticeable in the end of the card just because there's so much going on in the scene. So don't stress about it. There's a way to fix it. I mean, worst case scenario, I could have put, something else over it or drawn in a little cloud or, whatever. It would have been fun. But yeah, I really like this beach scene die. I'm a fan of this because I like scenes, first of all, but also because I think it makes it easy for other people to make scenes. If maybe you're not into masking or you're not as proficient at masking, this makes it super simple because it separates everything for you. I'm going to do the sand here with these 3 brown colors and then use a couple of blues. For the watercolors, you'll see all of that. I also use the blue to add a little bit of shading to the bottom of my clouds. You could also use like a lavender or a light gray, but it just that way it gives it a little bit of definition so it's not just a stark white cloud. Yeah, so as far as life goes, I mean, not really too terribly much going on since the last time I talked to you. So I guess we could probably just get right into the wedding, and you guys know how this goes. We'll go back and forth between the card and the wedding story, like we usually do. So I'm pretty sure where we left off, I feel like these are the days of our lives. You know what I mean? Like last time on Kelly, well, now it's Lativola Taylor on the YouTube channel anyway. It's just Kelly Taylor in real life. We left off at me getting to the house to get ready. So I'm the last one to leave the salon. All of us traipse back to my house. My sisters and my mom are not here. But all of my other bridesmaids are. So Daedra, my best friend, and Amy, one of my best friends, are getting ready here. And my Angie, then my goddaughter, also getting ready here. So my poor, like, anybody who has children, like, like any kind of special occasion, you have to get yourself ready and you have to get your child ready. And most of the time getting your child ready means that you basically have no time to get ready yourself. So Daedra is trying to do exactly this. So her hair is done, but she's got to get her dressed. She's got to get herself dressed. And then be ready for like some sort of photos. In the meantime, I'm talking to the photographer because she's trying to get pictures of my dress because she took all of the accessory photos, like I said, out laying her blazer in the grass at the hair salon place. One thing to know, I want to go back to the hair salon place. So I told you guys I got ready there. I wore, which is the first time ever for me, I wore fake eyelashes for my wedding. Right? Right. So I like to think I'm fairly well versed in makeup. I'm pretty comfortable with it. I've been wearing makeup a good portion of my life. My mother was a avid makeup wearer. I think it's fun to play in makeup. But since the Ronas, I have not really been wearing a whole lot of makeup. Plus now I'm on night shift and I'm back in a uniform. So I don't really feel like I need to get like done up to go to work 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not really going to run into anybody. So there are occasions that I do still wear makeup, but it's rare. So I'm a little out of practice. And I've never worn fake eyelashes before. One of the girls I work with, Haley, wears them all the time, and she looks amazing all the time. Okay, she has a son who's the same age as mine, so I'm not really sure how she finds time to look amazing all the time, but probably because she doesn't make cards. That would probably be my guess. So she has time to look amazing all the time. But she wears eyelashes. So when I was talking to her about it, and she was like 110%, I can show you how to put on eyelashes. It's super easy. You're going to be fine. So I'm like, okay, what eyelashes do you wear? She tells me they're like now I don't even remember the name of them, y'all. Ardemini. You can get them at Target. It starts with an A. That's as much guidance as I have to give you. And so she's like, you can get these ones or you can get these ones. So I go to Target and I see the two different kinds that she has, and I see the kind that she wears all the time, which are like the full lashes, and they look amazing on her. They look enormous in the container, but I'm like, okay, we'll try them. And then I get the little like demi wispy ones, which thank the Lord. So the first night that we try it, I discovered that the eyeliner that I wear, it's like, it's called Blonde Ambition by Sephora. It's their brand. And it's like a shimmery white metallic. And actually, my girlfriend Dawn Wolfslagel from W+9 turned me on to that eyeliner, and I love it. And I still wear it all these years later. But it's like a creamy texture. So lesson number one I learned is that my eyelashes were sticking to my eyeliner but not sticking to my eyelid, and then when I would take the lash off, it would pull my liner off, and then I would have to like scrape off the glue and try again. So I knew going into it I couldn't put my eyeliner on first. I had to put the lashes on first. And so when I first tried them, I did the large ones. It looked insane. Like it was much too much for this little girl's eyeballs. So then I tried the little wispies and I liked those much better. I took a selfie, I sent it out to my mom, my sisters, my best friend, and was like, yay or nay for the wedding. And everybody was like, yay. Okay, cool. So then when I'm at the salon, I do my makeup. I'm trying to get my lashes on. I finally get one on, and I'm asking then the girls, I was like, do you think this is too much? Do you think it's too much? And everybody was like, no, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, good. All right, so now we got the lashes on, the makeup's done. We're back at the house. That's where we're at. So Lindsay's trying to take pictures of my wedding dress. We end up finding like the best lighting is in the family room, and so we end up like hanging the dress on my fireplace mantle and just kind of spreading it out there. And then I leave her to take the pictures. I come upstairs. Now, my dress that I chose was a V-neck in the front, but it had like see-through panels on the side, and it was a deep V in the back, which means I could not wear a traditional bra, and I could not wear a strapless bra. So I got a sticky bra. So it just sticks right to you. There's all these warnings, okay, on this sticky bra. All of these warnings. That you have to peel it off slowly, make sure you don't have a sunburn. Back to the car real quick. So here for the water, I went over the die cut edges with a Zig Wink of Stella white pen. It dries opaque so that it's white. I know we're going to have this opaque conversation. Opaque. Okay, I'm done with it now. And then I went over it like I usually do. Like I would usually do a scene with my white acrylic paint and a stiff brush. This did give me a little bit of trouble just because it has the seam in between and I couldn't really get the paint in there. So I did end up going back in with a number 2 round brush and just kind of painting the line directly over so I could get paint all in the edges. Little tip there. So, yeah, so it's got all these, oh, don't wear it if you have a sunburn because it can cause blisters. Make sure you peel it off really slowly. So I was totally expecting this thing to be like the duct tape of bras that I was later going to have to peel off. So I've learned through trying on my dress and the multiple sizes that I had to go, like I had to go in for multiple fittings, because I let the girl talk me into, like a crazy person, I let her talk me into a smaller size. So when I was trying on my dress, I tried on an 8. I think it was an 8. No, I tried on a 10. I'm sorry, I tried on a 10. And she was like, this dress runs big. Instead of getting an 8, I think you should get a 6. And I was like, okay. So I let her talk me into it, which I did order a 6. And it came in and it was like 2 centimeters too small. Like I could get the back zipped, but then I had like weird rolly skin in the back. So I had to go for multiple fittings. So since I had to go for the multiple fittings, I have worn the sticky bra several times. And I know now that because I had to go for my multiple fittings multiple times during the summer when it was hot, that the stick on this thing, the way they make it sound, is a lie. It's completely not true. And as I was going, really honestly, just back and forth between the tailor place, which is about 15 minutes from my house, it would lose its stick because I would be sweating. So I was a little bit concerned about that. But then once like the dress was fitted correctly to my body, I was less concerned because the dress was pretty much going to keep it right in place. And for the most part, it did. So I come upstairs, I have to get dressed. And with my first wedding, I had like a corset bra, I had a big poofy skirt slip I had to wear, I had all of these layers. With this one, I was much smarter and I got a light dress that I wouldn't have to wear a bunch of things under, so I wouldn't be uncomfortable all night. So I come upstairs, I get dressed, and basically all I'm wearing is just like undergarments. That's it. There's nothing else to it. So I have to get dressed in the family room because that is where first of all, that's where my dress is, but second of all, because that's where the only room that I'm going to have that's large enough for me to get into this dress. So I go downstairs and I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I'm down the stairs, around the corner. As I come around the corner, my mom and my father are walking in the door. And I'm like, oh, Dad, hey, hi, okay. Turn back around the corner. And I'm like, you gotta go in the you gotta go somewhere else. Like, you gotta go be somewhere else where your grown daughter is not in her undergarments. So he goes and sits in the dining room. I go into the family room, my siblings, and of course there's like pictures being taken the whole time. Once I'm decent, once I got the dress high enough to be decent. And so my sisters are helping me get in the dress. My mom puts on my garter. Pictures. And then we're ready to put on my shoes, which it's like a wedding tradition in some places that your dad puts a penny in your shoe for luck. And so I go into the dining room to take those photos. My father looks at me for the first time. This is how you know that I am my father's daughter, because I am very real and I just say what I mean. He takes my shoe, he looks up at me and he goes, "Fake eyelashes." First thing out of his mouth, fake eyelashes. And I was like, yes, Daddy, fake eyelashes. And he's like, well, you look beautiful. And then we move on and take our pictures or whatever. Oh my gosh, like right out the gate, fake eyelashes. So I finished getting dressed. Everybody is running around like crazy people trying to get their dresses fit, safety pins, pull my dress up, pull my bra down, pull my this there, the whole thing. It's just chaos. And then we're like, okay, we're ready to go. And everybody's like leaving. And I'm like, your bouquets, y'all, you need your bouquets. Because the lady who did my flowers was very nice and she delivered them to the house because the boys were here. So she could help them pin on their boutonnieres and all that jazz. So she sends me a text message earlier while I'm at the salon and says, there is not a boutonniere for your junior groomsmen. It wasn't in the order, which is not true. Because then when we got here, so she very generously is like, I will just, like, I'll make one up real quick and I will bring it by the house, which is wonderful of her. And I'm very grateful she was willing to do that. But when we got here, my dad's corsage and my mom's corsage was supposed to still be here. Like their wrist, my mom had a wrist corsage, Eric's mom had a wrist corsage. And I open it up, and the boutonniere that she has given me when she met me in the driveway is a very good size boutonniere. When I open up the one in the fridge, it's very small. And I was like, this has got to be Nathan's. Like, it has to be. Because it doesn't make any sense for my father to have this teeny tiny one and for Nathan to have this big old fat boutonniere. So it was fine. We ended up switching them out. No big deal. But it was just like, one thing after another, kind of how weddings roll out. It's just the way that it works, unfortunately. Quick note back to the card. So I did Google flamingos to see what their colorings looked like. And their kneecaps are this pinkish red color. Yeah, I didn't realize that, so I'm glad that I looked. So for the second flamingo, I'm not going to show you the same coloring all over again. Their bodies are pretty much the same, but I am going to just show you how I changed, how I colored the knees on this other one, just so you can kind of see the difference, and then I'm going to go into coloring the shells. So, okay. So we got the corsage boutonniere. It's basically a bunch of craziness going around the house. We are getting ready to leave. Everybody has the bouquets. They really did turn out very beautiful. Mine was a combination of sweetheart roses, some larger coral roses, some berries. She told me the name of the berries, but I can't remember what they're called. And then calla lilies, which are one of my favorite flowers. I think they're beautiful. They're a swamp flower. So they were not in season. It was a little pricier, but totally worth it to have what I wanted. And then the girls was a combination of, I think she put Lysianthus in there, and then the same roses. They just didn't have calla lilies. And then Alexa, my goddaughter, hers was just a smaller version of the other girls. But they turned out great. She did a wonderful job. And they were wrapped in burlap and navy ribbon. So, okay. So then we're all getting together, and the game plan is, for those of you I know had asked whether or not Graham got to go to the wedding, and at this point with her health the way that it is, she's pretty much either bed bound or wheelchair bound. It depends on just what kind of day she's having. So unfortunately, she could not go, but I did go back to my parents' house in order to get a picture with her once I was dressed. So we all load back up on the party bus. Now I live about 2 minutes from my mom and dad. We live in the same development. So we get onto the party bus and make my way down to my parents' house. I'm the only person getting off the bus, and the game plan is just for me to get off the bus and then to go and take a picture with my grandmother, get back on the bus, and then we're going to go because I'm running short on time. And I told you the only thing Eric asked me to do was not be late for our wedding. So my dress, I explained to you, it was a V-neck in the front, had the see-through panels on the side, and then a deep V in the back. I did modify my dress because I wanted my dress to look like my dress. So I wanted a little bit of color. I used a 1.5, was it 1.5 or 2? Might have been 1.5 inch wide satin ribbon, and a brooch that I bought off Etsy, which was beautiful. And I added that to my dress. So it was like an empire waist. I added the brooch in the middle, right over the navy blue ribbon. And then that tied in the back to a bow. And then I had the 2 long tails that went the length of my dress. This was a little bit tricky for the lady who did my dress to kind of figure out, because she didn't want me to tie the bow, because then there was a chance like we were going to be messing with it forever. But then she was worried if she put the bow on there, how we were going to get it over the zipper kind of thing. So what we ended up doing was she sewed my ribbon into my dress and the brooch, because it was a little bit heavier. She sewed it in there, and then she made a pre-made bow, which she sewed on just to the left-hand side of my dress. Then once it was zipped, there was like a little button that she buttoned over the zipper so that the bow would always be in the right place, which was beautiful, and I loved it, and I'm so happy that I did it. Now my mother watches all my videos. Mama, don't start crying. It's okay. It's still okay. All right, so this is what happened. So we get to my parents' house, and I get off of the bus, and obviously my dress is very long. It's not bustled at this point, and I am pulling up my dress to get down the stairs of the party bus to the driveway to go and take this picture with my grandmother. I get my dress up. I'm walking down the stairs. My mom is walking behind me to help me carry my dress, and she accidentally steps on my ribbon and tears off my bow off of my wedding dress. So I hear it rip. I turn around. She's already in tears, immediate tears. And I tell her, it's fine. Whatever it is fine. It's okay. And she's like, I can't believe I just did that. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, Mama, it's no big deal. We will safety pin it back on. Nobody will ever know the difference. But I don't have time for this right now. So can you find me a safety pin so we can fix it? And I went in and I took my picture with my grandmother, because you cannot see the back of my dress anyway. My mother found a safety pin. I got back on the party bus. My sister safety pinned my bow back in place. And genuinely, you could not tell the difference. However, my poor mother was devastated, which I completely understand, because in her shoes, if I had done that to somebody else's wedding dress, I also would have been devastated. But it really did end up being fine, and you really could not at all tell that any of this had even occurred. So I'm pretty sure she's just going to carry that for the rest of forever, no matter how many times that I tell her it was okay. And it was okay. It really was. So then we're back on the party bus. We have 30 minutes to get to the church, because remember, we picked a church that was in between where we live and where his family lives, so that everybody would have to come the same amount of time. So it was equally as inconvenient for everybody else as it possibly could be. Side note, back to the card. So now I just have everything where I want it, and I'm going to assemble everything. Some of the things got glued down flat, like the little grasses, and then some of the shells and then the flamingos are going to be popped up just so it's multi-dimensional. And like I said, by the time we were all done adding the sentiment and everything else, you can't even really see that little blob from my finger back from the distress inking. So sometimes it's okay to just go with the flow. It's not going to be anything that's totally apparent in the end anyway. So on the party bus, we're on our way there. We have a 30-minute drive. And I am freaking out that we are going to be late for the ceremony, because the ceremony starts at 2. And it is like 1:51, and that's our arrival time. That's what time it's telling us we're going to get there, 1:51, which gives me 9 minutes to the ceremony. If we hit any kind of traffic, if there's an accident, if there's anything, I am going to be late. And I was pretty sure Eric would absolutely destroy me. Like, just never, ever, ever forgive me for being late to our wedding. So I was totally freaking out. So the girls decide they're going to play some music. They're going to play some music in the party bus to help me kind of relax, which, according to my sister, is Shoop by Salt and Pepper. In case you're ever looking for a song to relax you when you're about to be late for your own wedding ceremony, that's the go-to song, is Shoop by Salt and Pepper. And then also a little Move This by Technotronic. That also got some airtime, courtesy of Amy, who remembered me when I was in 4th grade. Because I pretty much love that song. I mean, who didn't, honestly? So that's where we're going to leave off at this point. So for the card, it's pretty much done. I'm just adding some clear glitter to the water, to the shells, and then to the flamingos, of course. I had a friend who did get married over the summer, and that is what I made this card for. if I ever get it into the mail. Let's be honest. I'm terrible at that. So it's not great. Plus, I think she prefers fall anyway. Like, I think that's her favorite season. So, but nonetheless, it's a super duper cute card. It's summer's maybe a little past, but that's okay because, I think that it's great to make summer cards anytime because summer's one of my favorite seasons. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.